What I want to talk to you this morning about is, as you can tell, what we're going to talk about, our anchor. Where do you place your anchor? I want you to think about that for a second. Your anchor of life, where do you place it? What gives you some security in your life? Is it friends? Is it family? Some people find security in their job. It could be alcohol, it could be food. There's a lot of places that we put our anchor to. Through the years, a lot of the ships that have sailed have dropped an anchor. Anybody ever got on a boat, put your anchor to fish? I don't fish much, but I'm sure it's a lot easier when you're in one place. But I do know what it's like to be on a big ship. And Dave and I sang on a couple cruise ships years ago. And when we got ready to go off to they anchor offshore and then they ferry you over to the little islands where you can spend more money. Well, I know what it's like to get on that little boat that they throw you on to go over there. And I'm thankful that they anchored the big boat. Because can you imagine trying to get on that little boat, but the big boat was like this? Sometimes we're in life like that. We're trying to get out of our little boat on the sea of life onto another place, and it's rocking all over the place. The storms of doubt, discouragement, despair, and defeat. This morning they might have battered your ship. The winds of temptation, trials, and tears might have ripped your sails so far this morning or this week. The seas of sin, sorrow, and sickness have left you wounded and discouraged. The barriers of fear, frustration, and failure that rob you of your joy, your happiness, and your peace. Sometimes we wonder, am I ever going to make it? What am I doing out here in this ocean? Why am I just floating along? See, a lot of times we anchor ourselves to stuff, to power, to job, success, money, positions. And a lot of times all that ends up being is just sinking sand. We don't ground ourselves in anything that's solid. And our ship just kind of keeps on drifting, in danger of sinking one day. But you know what? There's good news this morning. I'm here to give you good news. We have something solid to anchor our anchor onto. It's the solid rock of Jesus Christ. He'll steady your ship. He'll calm your storm. And I've told you from the very beginning since I've been out here, one thing I found out in my life, it may not be in your time or my time frame, but it's in his time frame. And not to keep going back to my recent discovery of a new love in my life, but I'll tell you, it took a long time. It wasn't on my time frame, but I'm sure glad it was on his because it's much better than I'd ever been able to put together for myself. You know, in the early days of the church, the anchor was representing or was a symbol of hope. And they found in Rome, as they went through some of these catechisms of early Christians, they have found in Rome over 60 pictures or drawings of the anchor. I never thought about that, but the anchor is hope. Hope in Jesus Christ. Hope in the fact that we have a better place for us other than what we're here. As you well know, Jim started a group years ago that I'm still leading and singing in called Sojourner. We're now Sojourner Quartet. Does everybody know what sojourners are? We're all just sojourners passing through this life. This isn't anything compared to what God's been preparing for us for a long, long time. So don't get too settled down here. While we're here, we need to get our anchor on the solid stuff, and that's Jesus. But don't get it stuck too much down here because we're not staying very long. That's the hope that we have. When you throw your anchor of faith into the water of the Word of God, it firmly lodges to the rock of ages, and that rock is who? Jesus Christ. There are a whole lot of reasons why anchors may not hold. Your rope might be too short. Your anchor may not be sufficient for the size of boat you're in. You may throw it out and the wind, it doesn't catch and the wind's just blowing you all over. Now there is a few embarrassing reasons why your anchor may not hold. One is if you don't tie the knot tight enough, your anchor may become a prop on SpongeBob SquarePants. That was funnier when I did it at home.
I thought it was funny, Mark.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Also, forgetting to pull up your anchor when you're getting ready to move the boat. That's not always a good sign. Or if you're out there fishing with your buddy and you thought he was pulling up the anchor and he thought you were pulling up the anchor and off you go. That's not good. Often in life, we find ourselves where our anchor doesn't hold. We sometimes end up in deep water. The waves are crashing in on us, and we just can't see the end to it. We depend on people that aren't secure, aren't reliable, and aren't honest. There's only one anchor that holds in our life, no matter how high the water, how high the waves, how strong the wind. Once again, that anchor is Jesus Christ. This anchor is firmly, and I'm going to say this a couple times, so I want you to hear it. This anchor is firmly and eternally secure, reliable and trustworthy. This anchor is firmly and eternally secure, reliable and trustworthy. Once again, the anchor that holds is Jesus Christ. We put our trust in Jesus, and the anchor of hope is dropped, secure and immovable for all eternity. It's kind of interesting, there's only one place in the Bible that talks about an anchor, and that's, hopefully it'll be up there in a minute. It's Hebrews 6:18 through 20. I want to read that to you real quick. It says, God did this so that two unchangeable things in which it is impossible for God to lie, we have fled to take hold of the hope offered to us, may be greatly encouraged. Offered to us, may be greatly encouraged. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain, where Jesus, who went before us, has entered on our behalf. He has become the high priest forever in the order of... that. I didn't study Greek. Basically what that's saying is the fact that Christ is going on ahead of us. And when Christ hung on that cross and said, "It is finished," that's when God ripped the curtain in two. See, Christ sits at the right hand of the Father, waiting for us. Now you have to stretch your mind just a little bit, because when we drop our anchor here, basically what we're doing is we're throwing our anchor up and securing ourselves to Jesus Christ, who sits at the right hand of the Father, who's prepared a place for us. He's been working on a place for us for over 2,000 years. And I say it's a much better place than I'll ever be able to build for myself down here. We're anchored in God's precious promises. That's found in Hebrews 6:18. It says, by two immutable things in which it was impossible for God to lie. The foundation of our hope is in the unfailing promises of God.